All right. Welcome back, everybody, as we're getting ready to do our predictions for the NFL North, NFC and AFC, and let's get it started. All right, and let's get things started with the NFC North, and we have for our fourth place team in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. And you really don't know who to feel more terrible for. Well, check that you do. You feel more bad for Matt Stafford because while Detroit Lions fans, they've had their souls crushed for about, half a century. Matt Stafford, he's taken the beating on the field for the past decade now. And you really hate to see a player of his caliber just have just an entire career virtually gone to waste. I think they've had two teams make the playoffs. I know they did in 2012. Um, just a waste of talent. And, I mean, they've tried, but just never reached that potential, especially since Calvin Johnson retired. They just haven't been able to keep any health around him. I know they had high hopes when they hired Matt Patricia. It hasn't just worked out. Matt's been able to stay healthy because he's took a beating. Who could stay healthy? And then they get Kerryon Johnson from Auburn, big, powerful back. He can't stay healthy. Just a lot of bad luck in Detroit. You really hate it for Stafford, really everybody in Detroit. You'd really like to see a team like that who's just really had some terrible luck over the years finally be able to, get over that hump, at least find a little string of success, a couple seasons. But, maybe if Stafford could stay healthy, if this team could stay healthy, they could avoid having the number one pick in the draft. I don't see it. Sadly, I see them going 2-14 and finishing fourth in the NFC North. All right, and in third place in the NFC North, we have, and this is very disappointing to say, in third place, the Green Bay Packers. Last year, this team went 13-3, and really, there's no excuse when you've got a quarterback, one of the top five quarterbacks in pro football, and Aaron Rodgers should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And you go from a 13-3 team to pretty much a team that's probably going to go between 9-7 and 11-5 at the peak. Just because you hemorrhage talent during free agency, you don't match the offers that other teams are offering your best players. Instead of drafting somebody that's going to help you win, help your Hall of Fame quarterback win, you draft a replacement for him. I just don't understand, and I've seen a lot of Packer fans share this frustration. What the heck are they doing in Green Bay? Don't you want to just get the last bit of football out of Aaron Rodgers? I don't understand the Green Bay. Don't understand their line of thought here, but it's very disappointing to see one of the great football talents of all time, his last few years just go to waste. Hopefully, they'll get some more talent around him, or maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they've got some diamonds in the rough that we don't know about. Maybe being totally unfair here, but as of right now, knowing what we do know, I have Green Bay finishing third and 9-7. All right, and coming in at number 2 in the NFC North, we've got the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings finished second last year in the NFC North, and I've got them staying right at the same spot. Kirk Cousins, if he plays at the level he did last year, they should be right back here contending for a playoff spot. Uh, Cousins, if he can stay at that level. Dalvin Cook, excellent running back. If he can continue to contribute at that level. They lose Stephon Diggs, but they've got other receivers that can fill in for him. I don't think it's that, not to, Diggs is a great player. I'm not trying to minimize what he contributed to the Vikings, but to say he's completely irreplaceable would just be incorrect. I think you can put guys to replace him. So definitely, I don't think they're the best team in the division, but I think they can stay where they were last year, right on the cusp of the division title. And I have them finishing second in the division at 10-6. All right, and the team as I have winning the NFC North, to me, one of the sneakiest teams in pro football, the Chicago Bears. A lot of people think that Chicago brought Nick Foles in to push Mitch Trubisky. I don't think so. I think they brought him to be the starting quarterback here. I think Trubisky's had his chance. Each time he's been given the ball, he's come up short. I don't like putting the guy down, but he's failed every time. And now that doesn't mean that one day he can't improve, take the job back. Foles is getting up there, but with the kind of defense Chicago has, this is a win now type of team. Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, and this defense this is a Super Bowl caliber defense with a mediocre offense with Trubisky at quarterback. And to me, you can't judge Nick Foles by what he did last year at Jacksonville, because he was injured before he even had a chance to win the team over, in my opinion. And the team just fell in love with Gardner Minshew. So I think if Foles comes in, the Bears have enough offensive talent, especially with an efficient quarterback as Foles can be. I really think this Chicago Bears team could be downright super, if you catch my drift. I have them at 12-4, winning the NFC North, and could possibly make a deep run into the NFC playoffs. All right, and coming in fourth place, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North. Um, they added Joe Burrow with a number 1 pick. Other than that, so I mean that's a lot. That's a very big piece to add. Certainly down the line, they hope that's the quarterback of the future, and it very well could be if he can turn that great 2019. That's actually great is an understatement for what he did last year with LSU in that offense. But if they can build on that, certainly it's not going to be instant. You don't go from 1-15 to a Super Bowl champion. But certainly
Cincinnati
there's a
went
lot to
2 and
build
14,
from,
not 1 and 15
especially
last year.
if he can, hit things off with AJ Green. Um, Cincinnati's cupboard isn't completely bare, but it certainly needs help. So, Joe Burrow gets in there, works real well with offense. They can build some continuity, uh, build some chemistry together. I think they could definitely improve from last year's 1-15 record, which that's not saying much. 2-14, a double your win total, but I could see 3-13, 4-12. 4-12 is actually what I have them. That would be my estimation for the 2020 season on the Cincinnati Bengals, and Burrow is good enough to lead them to 3 more victories, and I think he will. So we've got Cincinnati going 4-12, but still finishing in the cellar of the AFC North. All right, and at number 3 in the AFC North, we've got the Cleveland Browns. So after a disappointing 2019 season, Cleveland hopes to bounce back and hopefully live up to some of the expectations they had for last year. Obviously they've got the offensive weapons. They added Austin Hooper from the Atlanta Falcons at tight end. About Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubbs, among the various other talents they got. But main piece, Baker Mayfield. He's got to be able to distribute these guys the ball without turning it over. Pretty much every offense in the NFL, it all depends on the quarterback. And Baker has got to be smart. And I think one thing that once they started losing early last season, he felt a lot of unfair pressure. Well, I wouldn't call it unfair, but a lot of pressure fell onto him. And had a more experienced coaching staff been in place, they might have been able to mitigate that a little bit. But it just, like a snowball, just everything kept building up as it rolled downhill for the Browns last year. So hopefully 2020 will be a little bit better for them. Unfortunately, if Big Ben stays healthy for Pittsburgh, and I don't see the Baltimore Ravens slipping any, that's the 2020 Cleveland Browns problem. Is there's just 2 better franchises with better football teams ahead of them this year. So and that's why we got the Browns finishing 8-8 and finishing 3rd in the AFC North. All right, and coming in at 2nd place in the AFC North, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, something Pittsburgh hasn't had in the last couple years is a healthy Ben Roethlisberger. And if they could make it through 2020 with Big Ben healthy, that would help this team rebound a long way. Now they've lost Antonio Brown, they've lost Le'Veon Bell over the past couple of years, which has kind of hurt them as far as talent-wise, you would think. But they've been able to get some of those pieces back at with James Conner at running back. To me, Conner is a very capable back. They've got some pieces at wide receiver, decent pieces at tight end. Pittsburgh's one of those franchises. They draft real well, and as long as you got healthy, keyword there, healthy Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, they're going to contend for the division. Or at least a playoff spot. If they're not in it for the division, they're at least going to be fighting for a wild card spot. And that's the thing that's really been knocking Pittsburgh, is that Big Ben has just not been healthy the past couple of years, nagging especially with his legs and his ankles have really just seemed to have been plaguing him. So to me, that's the key for Pittsburgh season. If they can keep Big Ben healthy and keep that defense healthy, especially with Minka Fitzpatrick and that defense, is traditionally good, especially from Cowher to Tomlin. You did, Pittsburgh's always going to offer a mean defense, and you go from that. They have a healthy Ben Roethlisberger. I can't emphasize that enough, obviously. But if they can do that, they will compete and should make some noise in the NFC North. Now, if they don't, that's going to be Cleveland's chance, and that's the only chance I give Cleveland to sneak into second. But if Big Ben can stay healthy, Pittsburgh will be relevant and make a push for the wild card. I'm not saying they will get the wild card, but they will definitely make a push for it. So right now I've got Pittsburgh at 10-6 and finishing second in the AFC North. All right, and our 2020 pick to win the AFC North is the defending champs, the Baltimore Ravens. And any wonder why you don't need to look forward past last year's MVP, Lamar Jackson? What he did to the NFL by just catching it on fire with his play. Everybody knew what Lamar could do with his legs, but what he did with his passing game and how he elevated his passing game was just phenomenal. And anybody who says they expected that from him is they're a very talented deceptor. I'll just put it that way, because I don't think anybody with a straight face, or not many, could claim that and it be true. But either way, and people are going to try to knock him. His detractors might try to use the Titans game and the way they upset Baltimore in the division round last year as proof that his regular season was a fluke. I don't think they can use one game to tear him down. I'm going to have to see Lamar be stopped a lot more than just one game. We've seen plenty of great players have one bad playoff game. So, they're going to have to do better than that. Lamar, now I don't think he's going to be able to sustain putting up crazy numbers like that every year. That would be crazy for anybody to ask. But do I think he's cemented himself as one of the top playmakers in the league? Yes. Is he going to be an MVP candidate year in and year out? Yes. And I think he's also made the Baltimore Ravens contender year in and year out if he can stay healthy. Because they've got the talent around him. And, in areas like maybe the receiving core where they're a little light, he's so deceptive with his legs, it makes those areas even better. So they've got a strong running game, especially led by Mark Ingram. They've got strong tight ends. And then, like I said, area at receiver, they might be a little light in talent. Jackson's legs, the threat of his legs, the threat of him running makes up for that. And he's going to literally run guys open with that threat. And Baltimore is always going to offer a tough, middle of the road, top 10 defense. You can always usually expect that out of a Baltimore Raven defense. So while I don't expect Baltimore to finish with the best record in the AFC as they did last year, I do have them going 12-4 and recapturing the AFC North. And that's what we've got. I appreciate you joining us. We should have our AFC NFC South video coming up with the next couple of days, and I appreciate you joining us once again. God bless you. God bless America, and y'all be safe out there. Thanks.